So, what is a social organization? It's a great question because many of us have different thoughts and feelings, even about social media. There's the camp of, social media doesn't work. There's the camp of, I bet social media works, but we just haven't done it. We haven't put in the time or effort to learn it. And there's other people that go, have no idea if it'll work whatsoever. So, let's address a term that I love to use is what is a social organization? And here's why I think it's so important. In 50 years from now, history is going to look back on this time that we're currently living in, and we are going to be the social era or the beginning of the social era. And it's going to have significant impact on the future. So, what does that mean for you and your organization? Well, think about this for a second. How does your company currently communicate with others? Now, it might be your prospects, it could be your existing customers, it could be for new potential hires, it could even be internally with each other. But think about the way that you communicate. You have systems, you have strategies for how you do that. As an example, for communicating with prospects, perhaps you have direct mail. Perhaps you have a company blog and you have some paid advertising to drive traffic to it. That's great. Perhaps with your existing customers, you'd use more of the phone and you use email. Whatever those systems may be, those are methods that you use to communicate. As what we like to say, it's a method that we all use to close the distance between us and the people with whom we want to influence. And it's the same for you and your company. Social is a method, it's a medium, if you will, to close that distance between all of your team members and those with whom your company would like to influence, who they like to communicate with, who they like to build a relationship with, or strengthen a relationship, especially when it comes to renewals. Now, I want you to think of a couple numbers for me, so just play along. I want you to think about this number. How many people are you connected to on LinkedIn and maybe one other platform you use, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram? Let's combine those numbers. How many are you connected to? Now, I want you to think of another number. How many people are in your organization? Now, I'm not all that great at math, but do a calculation there. Pull out your phones if you need to. What does that number look like? Okay. Now, last number, I promise. Let's go look at your company's business pages. How many followers do they have on LinkedIn? And maybe add one other, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it may be. How many followers do they have? Now, in most organizations, and I know that this isn't a perfect example, but in most organizations, the number of your connections, the human connections that the people on your organization have, is so much greater than the number of followers that your business page has. And then also, here's the other thing, the algorithms favor you as a person versus you as a business because they want you to pay to get exposure. So if you take that number and you realize, and here's a great example, and it's more B2C, but it's just a great example, is Nike has about 9.5 to 10 million followers on Twitter. But Serena Williams has 15 million. Roger Federer has about 26 million. LeBron James has about 50 million. And Cristiano Ronaldo has almost 100 million, which is exactly why Nike sponsors them. They get a much greater reach through people than they do from their brand. And your company is exactly the same. You have more reach and you have better reach through the individuals because you're building real influence and real relationships. So when you have a strategy and you have a methodology to communicate with people via social media, just like you would with your direct mail pieces, just like you do with your paid advertising, just like you do with email or with phone calls and phone scripts and things like that. A social organization embraces social media trains and equips everybody on the team to use social as a medium to reduce the distance between their people and the people with whom they want to influence. Now, I started this talking about 50 years down the road, and they're going to look back on us. And what are they going to say? They're going to say that this was the beginning of the social and digital era. And in the big picture of digital transformation, as you read this article below, I talk about the three current pillars of digital transformation. And COVID accelerated the third pillar. And that third pillar is social. So, look, if your organization is not using social in this manner right now, hey, I get it. But if you're not using it in this manner in 12 months from now or 24 months from now, unfortunately, if your competitors are, they're going to go flying right past you. That's what I mean by the social organization and how social organizations will dominate the airwaves of their industry. Take a look at the article I wrote. The link's down below. It goes to FunnelAmplified.com. But like everything else, I'd love to hear what you think about this. If I'm wrong in any ways or you think I'm wrong, let's talk through it. I'd love to embrace the conversation. But if you're in a company that you're looking at us going, our sales are down, we're finding it harder to connect with people, pipelines are down. I hear a lot of, hey, we got to 3x our pipeline, which is great, except you want to 3x your pipeline with high quality, highly engaged people that are having conversations with you, not just 3x your pipeline. If any of these are challenges in your organization or on the HR side and you want to learn more, I'd love to talk with you and share with you and share a lot of case studies about the organizations that we are helping and helping them become the social dominating company in their industry. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.